Ring, the pregnant bride found out his secret, and her wedding day revenge left everyone speechless, the morning before forever. Grace Miller stood before the full-length mirror in the bridal suite of Charleston's historic Magnolia Manor, her hands trembling as they rested on the gentle curve of her belly. The ivory lace gown fit perfectly, custom designed to celebrate both her wedding day and the precious life growing within her. At 4 months pregnant, she glowed with a happiness she'd never imagined possible. Today was supposed to be the beginning of everything beautiful. "You look absolutely stunning," her mother whispered, adjusting the delicate veil that cascaded down Grace's back like a waterfall of dreams. Grace smiled, though something felt off. Ryan had been distant lately, always on his phone, working late. She'd attributed it to wedding stress and his demanding job at the investment firm. Soon, she told herself, they'd be a family. Everything would settle into place. Her phone buzzed on the vanity. A message from an unknown number. "You deserve to know the truth before you marry him." Grace's heart stopped. Attached were screenshots, dozens of them. Messages between Ryan and Tessa, her maid of honor, her best friend since college. The words blurred through her sudden tears. "Can't wait until this wedding circus is over so we can be together properly." She's so naive, she suspects nothing. "The baby complicates things, but we'll figure it out." The room tilted. Grace gripped the vanity, her knuckles white against the polished wood. Tessa's response glowed mockingly on the screen. "I know, baby. Just a few more hours of pretending. Then she's your problem, not mine." Her mother noticed immediately. "Grace, sweetheart, what's wrong?" Grace looked up, meeting her own reflection. Her eyes, moments ago bright with joy, now burned with something else entirely. A fierce, quiet determination that surprised even herself. She touched her belly protectively, feeling the tiny flutter of life that depended on her strength. "Nothing's wrong, Mom," she said softly, her voice steady despite the storm raging inside. "Everything is about to be exactly right." She wouldn't run, she wouldn't hide, she would walk down that aisle, and she would make sure everyone knew exactly who Ryan Carter really was. The Walk of Reckoning. The church bells chimed melodiously as 300 guests settled into the white-draped pews of St. Michael's Cathedral. Grace stood at the entrance, her father's arm linked through hers, her bouquet of white roses trembling slightly in her grip. Through the open doors, she could see Ryan at the altar, devastatingly handsome in his tailored tuxedo, that charming smile playing on his lips. Beside him stood his groomsmen, and across the aisle Tessa wore a flowing bridesmaid gown, her face a perfect mask of supportive friendship. "You ready, sweetheart?" her father whispered, concern flickering in his eyes. He'd sensed something was wrong. Grace nodded and squeezed his arm. "More ready than I've ever been." The wedding march began. Every step down that endless aisle felt surreal, like moving through water. Guests turned to admire her. Cameras flashed, but Grace's eyes remained fixed on Ryan. She watched his expression, the practiced love, the hint of impatience beneath it. How had she missed it? All those late nights, the secretive phone calls, the way he'd stopped asking about her day or touching her belly to feel their baby kick. She caught Tessa's eye. Her best friend smiled warmly, even dabbing at fake tears. The betrayal cut deeper than Ryan's. 12 years of friendship, reduced to lies and stolen moments with the man Grace loved. Finally, she reached the altar. Her father kissed her cheek and whispered, "I love you." She held on to those words like a lifeline. The officiant began, his voice echoing through the cathedral. "Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today." Grace barely heard him. Her heart pounded so loudly she was certain everyone could hear it. Ryan took her hands, his palms sweaty, his smile widening. He had no idea what was coming. "Before we continue," Grace said suddenly, her voice cutting through the ceremony like a blade, "I need to say something."
The truth unveiled. Ryan's smile faltered. "Grace, what are you—" "Please," she interrupted gently, turning to face their guests. Her hand instinctively protected her belly. "Everyone came here today to witness a union built on love, trust, and honesty. I think you all deserve to see the truth." She gestured to her brother near the sound booth. He hesitated, then nodded, fingers flying over his laptop. The projection screen behind the altar, meant for their romantic photo montage, suddenly illuminated with text messages. Gasps rippled through the cathedral. Ryan's face drained of color. Grace, stop this right now! These messages, Grace continued, her voice stronger now, amplified by the microphone she'd taken from the officiant, are between my fiancé and my maid of honor. They were sent as recently as this morning, while I was getting ready to pledge my life to a man I thought loved me. The screen scrolled slowly, deliberately. Each message was worse than the last. The affair had been going on for 8 months, throughout her entire pregnancy. Guests read in horror, "The baby's not even mine, probably," and "Once we're married, her trust fund becomes community property. Then we can figure things out." Tessa bolted, her heels clicking frantically as she ran down the aisle and out of the church. No one tried to stop her. Ryan reached for Grace's arm. "You're making a scene. Think about what you're doing." She pulled away, her eyes blazing. "I am thinking, Ryan. For the first time in months, I'm seeing clearly." She turned back to the stunned crowd, tears streaming down her face, but her voice never wavered. "I came here today, ready to give you my heart, my future, my child's future. Instead, I'm taking them all back." She slid the engagement ring from her finger, the princess-cut diamond he'd proposed with on that perfect autumn evening, and placed it deliberately on the altar. "Thank you all for coming. I'm sorry for the wasted trip, but I promise you, this is not an ending. This is a beginning." Rising from the ashes. 3 months had passed since the wedding that never was. Grace sat in her newly decorated nursery, painting gentle clouds on the pale yellow walls of her modest downtown apartment. The space was small, but filled with warmth, so different from the cold, modern penthouse she'd once shared with Ryan. Here, surrounded by second-hand furniture lovingly restored and baby clothes folded with care, she'd found something she hadn't expected: peace. The aftermath had been brutal. Ryan had tried everything: apologies, threats, lawyers demanding paternity tests. Tessa had left Charleston entirely, her family quietly relocating her to avoid the scandal. Grace's story had spread through their social circle like wildfire, and while some had judged her for the public revelation, most had rallied around her with surprising fierceness. Her phone rang, displaying an unknown number. She'd learned to be cautious. "Grace Miller," a warm, professional male voice came through. "My name is Noah Hayes. I'm a journalist with Charleston Stories. I was actually at your wedding. Well, almost wedding." Grace's hand stilled on her belly, now rounded and prominent at 7 months. "I'm not interested in being a spectacle, Mr. Hayes. Please call me Noah. And I understand your hesitation, but this isn't about sensationalism." He paused, choosing his words carefully. "I write human interest stories about resilience and courage. What you did that day, standing up for yourself and your child, it was remarkable. I'd like to tell your story properly, if you'd let me. Not about the scandal, but about what comes after betrayal, about rebuilding." Something in his voice made Grace pause. There was genuine respect there, not the vulture-like curiosity she'd encountered from other reporters. "One coffee," she found herself saying. "That's all I'm promising. That's all I'm asking." They met the next afternoon at a quiet cafe overlooking the harbor. Noah Hayes wasn't what Grace expected. Instead of the slick, aggressive reporter she'd imagined, he was gentle-eyed and thoughtful, with worn notebook edges and kind smile lines. He stood when she arrived, pulling out her chair with careful attention to her pregnancy. "Thank you for giving me a chance," he said simply.
Love rewritten. The interview that was supposed to last an hour stretched into 3. Noah listened, truly listened, as Grace shared not just the scandal, but her journey, her fear of raising a child alone, her struggle to trust again, the unexpected strength she'd discovered in herself. He shared, too, carefully, about his own past heartbreak, his belief that the stories worth telling were always about people who chose hope over bitterness. "You're going to be an amazing mother,"
Noah said as the sun began to set over the harbor, painting the sky in shades of amber and rose. Grace touched her belly, feeling her daughter kick enthusiastically. I hope so. She deserves someone who'll always choose her first. She already has that, Noah said softly. She has you. Their coffee meetings became weekly, then twice weekly. Noah's article, when published, was beautiful, respectful, powerful, focusing on Grace's strength rather than Ryan's betrayal. It went viral, bringing messages of support from women across the country who'd faced similar heartbreaks. But more than the article, something unexpected bloomed between them. Noah attended her birthing classes when her mother couldn't make it. He helped paint the nursery's final wall. He was there, hand in hers, when she gave birth to her daughter Emma on a snow-dusted January morning. I know this is complicated, Noah whispered one evening, holding baby Emma while Grace rested, but Grace, I'm falling in love with you, with both of you. Grace looked at this man who'd witnessed her worst moment and chosen to see her strength instead of her pain, who loved her daughter as if she were his own, who'd proven day after quiet day that some people actually meant their promises. It's not complicated at all, she whispered back, tears streaming down her face, but these were tears of joy. I'm falling in love with you too. She'd walked down an aisle once, toward a false promise. Now, holding her daughter with Noah beside her, she realized she'd found something better than the fairy tale she'd imagined. A real love built on truth, patience, and the courage to begin again.